They're 5-0, ranked as high as 5th in the country, with the #1 overall defense. And they made good use of their bye week.
We had the defense evaluate the offense evaluate the defense, and then all of us really on special teams. So that was valuable.
Whether they're on the field or not, the goal is the same: get better every week. It's homecoming, and they expect to improve their record against UMass with another W in the win column. And the speculation is over. The future opponents are official, with a West Coast trip on the schedule for the next 4 years, where and when Nittany Lions fans will travel to support the team. It's time for Nittany Game Week. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Nittany Game Week. I'm Todd Sadowski alongside former Nittany Lions coaches Jake Paterno and Tom Bradley. I think bye weeks are really interesting. Guys, the players a chance to rest and recuperate. For the coaches, a chance to reflect and refocus. So what's the most important thing to accomplish during a bye week?
I think make sure you're really good on the little things. You can go back and do some fundamentals and get rest and healthy.
Hey, that's the #1 thing to me. Get your players healthy, get ready to go. Go back, reassess everything you've done and say, okay, what can we do better? Let's get it fixed.
All right, so the coaches poll gives the Nittany Lions a little bump up to #5 without even taking the field. It's nice when that happens. We find out how Penn State utilizes the non-game week, and it's the moment we've been waiting for. The future Big Ten opponents are announced. A lot of fun road trips to discuss in our opening drive. A whiteout shutout, sweep of the Big Ten West. So many positives to look at. Once you get into the heat of a season, it's like being on a merry-go-round. You rarely hop off. So the bye week is still a lot of work. Schedule and responsibilities are a little different, though.
Yeah, it does throw you off. And I think one of the things you got to remember is that, you have momentum coming into that bye week. Sometimes you don't want a bye week. Sometimes you have that momentum, which Penn State clearly has. But it does change your schedule. You're not in the normal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And sometimes that throws you off a little bit. But, I think these guys will handle it really well.
One other thing we got to talk about, too, is they still go to school. It's a good chance to catch up academically, too, to make sure you're getting all caught up on your schoolwork if you're behind a little bit. And that's important, too, to make sure they have the time to get that done. And I think the opponent matters as well, who you got next. For Coach Franklin, self-scouting is the first thing he mentions when asked about a bye week. Tons of recruiting by him and the entire coaching staff. Covered a lot of ground. He also discusses the difference between now and his time at Vanderbilt, along with the first few years in Happy Valley.
The staff that we do have, I would say is more experienced across the board. We've always had some experienced guys. We've been fortunate, guys like Jim Haslett and things like that. So we've had some good experience, but I just think we have more guys with experience that really can give us some good information and get some work done on their own.
The coach has not been shy about finding experienced voices in the game to talk to for valuable feedback and advice, anything to find the right formula to take the program's results to the highest level.
Well, I think keeping the players fresh is important during this week, Tom, the off week, and evaluating all 3 phases of the game. I think probably something that would do Penn State really well.
And then you're going to get out of your normal practice routine and say, okay, what do we really need to focus on this week? And maybe you're cut back on this, add to that. And then you want to take a look at some of your younger guys and see what you have there.
Look, the special teams unit, though, we've talked about some of these games, Ohio State, Michigan, maybe Maryland, who knows? It could come down to field goals. It could come down to field position, pinning them down low. So, Tom, you've always talked about the special teams.
If you're going to be good, there's going to be one game during the year you're going to have to steal with special teams. It's going to happen. It happens to every great team. They win it with the special teams, whether it be coverage, field goal block, but something important is going to come up in the special teams.
Yeah, a huge moment might be coming up here. So it's a brand new special teams unit, punter, place kicker, and one of the most important pieces, the snapper. Redshirt sophomore Tyler Dzansky says the chemistry's been building every week.
Heading into UMass this week, we're really confident, and our trust in each other is higher than ever, so we're excited.
I want to get Tyler's name out there because he's doing a great job, but he certainly wants to keep his name out of the headlines later. The less you know about the long snapper during a game, the better. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for. The future conference opponents have been released. We don't know the exact schedules, the exact dates, but we do know who's coming to Happy Valley and the upcoming road trips for the Nittany Lions. So let's go to 2024. First of all, there you take a look, guys. What jumps out?
At USC, I think that'll be first time Penn State's been out there in a long time. So I think that's one you circle.
2025. Okay, so they're still looking for one more home game to schedule on the road at Columbus, and Tom, your old stomping grounds at UCLA.
Yeah, it's once again, but they've been there before. They're playing the games in the Rose Bowl. Penn State has experience playing in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, Oregon comes to Happy Valley that year too. So 2026, let's go to that. All right, so our Impact interview guest is going to talk about this trip to Washington later in the show. That'll be a lot of fun. And then you see also in the Big House, Jay.
Yeah, no question, and a good home schedule there with Wisconsin, USC coming in. It should make for some fun games.
Yeah, and Minnesota, Purdue as well. In 2027, also the opponents released for that. Away, you got Oregon, the trip to Eugene, Madison once again, with Michigan and Washington coming to Happy Valley. Halloween is only a few weeks away. Certainly nothing to fear from this week's opponent. Andrew Callista combines a little history and maybe channels his Christmas spirit to come up with a UMass wish list for the homecoming game.
Nothing says playoff and being tested like facing the Minutemen. Just ask the British Crown. But this isn't Lexington and Concord. Penn State gets the Redcoats of Ohio State in a week, and for them to be ready, I believe I need to see some things this week that says they are ready to roar in the shoe. Yeah! Let's go! First and foremost, the run game has to be explosive. The backs have hinted at it that they want chunk plays. Well, I am with them, and it's not because I don't like the grinded out runs. I do. I really do. I think flashy big gainers are going to provide them confidence, though, and give them some mojo. So for me, I need to see 5 runs of 20 yards or more Saturday. Second, the deep ball. I started out the year saying just 2 deep balls over 20 yards to start the year was fine. Right now, we need to see more. At Illinois, I saw frustration from the wideouts. Northwestern, we saw some shots. The deep ball gives those D-backs something to think about in the back of their mind. Against UMass, I feel like the staff is going to take some shots, a lot of it for confidence going forward and also for execution. So far, James Franklin has alluded to it. Mike Yursich has as well. Third, with the deep ball comes separation. Yursich has also said the wideouts need to be better, and they do need someone to step up and be a threat, a constant threat on the outside. This is UMass. Someone needs to find their swagger. Just one more thing. Don't turn the ball over. But Penn State's offense has been very good at that. Too much to ask? Not this week.
Thank you, Andrew. Still to come, our scouting report. Penn State's defense, rock solid so far this year. Our coaches chart out the Nittany Lions' turnovers and how it's leading to wins for the team. Nittany Game Week returns after this.
Opening Drive is sponsored by your local Ford store. Visit buyfordnow.com today.
Well, welcome back to Nittany Game Week. UMass head coach Don Brown was the defensive coordinator at Maryland when James Franklin was the offensive coordinator for the Terps. Not sure Coach Brown's Minutemen have enough might to make this one a contest. Let's send it to our offensive and defensive leaders to break this one down in our scouting report.
Thanks, Tyler. What we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about UMass. Also do a little self-scout on the defense to show how effective they've been. But let's get right into UMass because that's what we're looking for this week. Their offense by the numbers, 26 points a game. You can see they're a good, solid offensive team, Tom, but those numbers aren't great.
They're not great at all, and it's who they've played too. You know,
Yeah.
That's what you got to put that in perspective.
Yeah, and then you take a look at their defense. Their defense has really struggled. You look at there's 130 teams in FBS football. There's a couple of 129th, 128th, 129th. Should be a good day for Penn State to get on track offensively.
You're being a little bit kind there.
Okay, 7.46 yards per play is a big, big number. But let's talk about UMass's offense, because the one thing they have done a good job is they've gotten good yardage per play. They have wideouts. They have an Arizona transfer, a Miami transfer. They've been able to get down the field on some people, and they like to attack you deep, Tom.
Yeah, they do like to attack you deep, but I don't think they're going to have the time versus the Penn State pass rush. I think you'll see a lot different routes against that defense.
Yeah, and you look down here, they get their outside guy and the safety, look for them to try and get those matchups and if they can hold up inside. Now, because of Penn State's pass rush, I think you'll see them go to some wide out screens. They like these things. They get these guys involved in the pass game in a short way, motion and run the wide out screen. And it's the run after the catch.
You're going to see bubble screens, now screens, quick stuff, quick passes. And there's going to be a lot of max protection this week.
Yeah, if you take a look again, this is a nice, easy throw. Even an old guy like me can complete that one. But it's the run after the catch, and they do have receivers that have ability. Now, in their run game, in their pass game, they are predominantly 78% of their passes go to the wideouts, but they do get the running backs involved. When number 20 is in the game, he's the guy they like to throw the ball in time. You see here. They clear him out and then check down and get him on linebacker.
This is what I think is going to happen this week. They're going to try to get the ball to that running back very quickly and let him try to make somebody miss.
And get him on linebackers one-on-one. And then we'll take a look at their run game in terms of number 15 for them. He is a guy that you want to watch. He's 23rd in the country in yards per game. He's done a good job. And they use the wideouts, Tom. You see these guys coming downfield, and you know that puts pressure on the secondary and opens up the run game for them.
They've actually done a good job running the football inside, which is surprising.
Yeah, so take a look at all those on Saturday. Watch out for 15 and in the game, run the ball, 20 as a receiver at running back. Now, let's take a little look at what Penn State has done defensively. Now, in this chart, here is Penn State is heading this way to the end zone. This is where they've gotten the ball. So you can see Penn State's turnovers that they've gotten. Not only have they been gotten a lot of turnovers, it's where they've gotten them, Tom, on this side of the 50-yard line.
Very opportunistic, helping their offense.
No question. And we talk about turnovers. We're also talking about turnovers on downs. You can see from that chart where they've gotten them. Now, what have they done with it? Touchdown, 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 field goal, field goal, field goal, touchdown, touchdown, pick six, touchdown. Interestingly, all the interceptions have been pretty much on the left side of the field because people are avoiding the right side because of King. Now, let's take a look at what's happened with those. 6 interceptions, 5 fumble recoveries, 5 fourth down stops. What has that meant in terms of point production? If you go to the next one, we take a look at what that's meant. 16 possessions, 13 scoring possessions, 78 total points, 38% of Penn State's point production have come off of turnovers. Next thing we want to take a look at here, short field, the average touchdown drive after a turnover has been 34 yards, average field goal 31 yards, the average field position to plus 43. Now, here is the graphic Todd has been waiting for. We consider every turnover to be like a guy that gives you, in a scramble tournament, a birdie putt. Here are the gimmies and what they've come out of with. Here are the ones from the 30 and in, 50 and in, and then in their own 20. So you can see Penn State, if you grade them, they've got 9 touchdowns, which we count as birdies, 5 pars, which would be like a 2-putt with field goals, 2 bogeys, so they're -7 through 16 holes. Kind of like what Todd Sadowski shoots when he goes out.
He's a much better putter.
The turnover golf graphic is the best thing we've done on Nittany Game Week in 3 seasons of the show, Jay. That's unbelievable. Nice job, fellas.
Not a very high bar.
Yeah, it's not a very high bar. You're right. Well, look, the future opponents have been set. The topic was brought up to Coach Franklin, and here's his response about his non-conference opponent philosophy.
With a bigger playoff, there's probably a little bit more wiggle room in terms of right now it's kind of, undefeated or at the most 1 loss. If you're not scheduling to be undefeated, you're scheduling to have as least as many losses as possible to give yourself a chance to be in the playoffs.
As we showed you earlier in the show, Penn State's opponents are all set for the next 4 years with one exception. They need to add 1 more home game in 2025. Well, coming up, our Impact interview guest is Fox News host Emily Campano. She's a University of Washington grad, and she's going to tell us what it's going to be like to visit the Huskies for a Big Ten conference game. That's coming up in a bit. And don't forget to show us your pride by submitting your Nittany Game Week Pride picks or throwback picks. These things are fantastic. On our website, could be at the tailgate or rooting on the blue and white from home. Kids, pets, we want to see them cheering on the Nittany Lions. Send us your pride picks and throwback picks at NittanyGameWeek.com.
Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
Well, our Impact Interview guest this week is a return guest, Emily Campano of Fox News. She's a host. You'll see her on Outnumbered. You also hear her host the Fox True Crime podcast, and she appears on Gutfeld, a former criminal defense attorney and Oakland Raiders cheerleader. Just a huge big-time college football fan, and all of us just can't figure out why Emily keeps coming to talk to these three knuckleheads. But we're just so happy to have you back, Emily. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, you guys, thanks so much for having me back. I'm very grateful and surprised that you allow and invite back this Raiders and Husky fan. So thank you for that.
Well, you mentioned Huskies, and a year ago about this time, we talked about the possibility and USC, UCLA coming to the Big Ten. Little did any of us realize that Washington and Oregon would be sweeping themselves right into the Big Ten Conference as well. They got a game set up in Happy Valley next year, and then they're going to Washington. What are your thoughts on Washington joining the Big Ten?
Okay, so I come to the table sort of bearing two different flags, right? And I think that each of those flags represent how the community feel, which is really conflicted. And when we all talked last year, to be honest, I never thought it was an actual probability. I thought it was possible, but not probable. And even when USC defected, I still haven't gotten over my shock. And same with UCLA. So all of a sudden, to learn that UW and Oregon are leaving for the Big Ten, and that the sort of standard answer is, well, it's better for us financially. It's a better media deal, right? And so, for viewers, I'm sure they all know, but we get $30 million for the remainder of this media contract every year, raising by $1 million. And then in 2030, we get a full share of the over $1 billion expected, which is a massive amount of revenue. And it puts us in the limelight. It puts us on better featured. It puts us in better footing, according to the argument here, academically as well as athletically. But Washington is similar to Penn State, which is that it's an insular community, and it's one that is filled with pride of their own. And part of what we love about watching Husky football and Husky athletics is watching kids grow up in the state, rising through the ranks and shining throughout their youth careers, and then joining the Husky team. And so I think for a lot of people who are ride or die Washington, they're confused by the notion that all of a sudden the defensive argument for this, or the proactive argument, is, well, it puts us on a better national footing, where it puts us in the sort of better equipped to pull from the national pool. So I see both ways.
Well, Emily, we call this the Impact Interview, and I wanted to ask you about some of the charitable causes in your life. You've been involved in the causes helping veterans, law enforcement, canines. How much is that part of your life really of impacting others mean to you?
Thank you for that question. It means everything to me. And the way that I view it is that I have been so fortunate to have the small platform that I do, or hold a tiny portion of a very large platform, I should say. And so to me, I feel like as a steward of other people's time and attention, how could I not use it to benefit others and to amplify the messengers that are doing amazing works out there to help fill needs for those communities like veterans and law enforcement and canines. I mean, the reason that I work, for example, so diligently to try to spread awareness for canine nonprofits is because there's no legislation that covers their veterinary bills after retirement. Most people don't know that. My goal would be to have these charities become obsolete. But until that time, I will do all I can to help fill the needs that these communities are championing for. And I think more accurately serve as a messenger for the nonprofits that dedicate their time day in and day out, those that serve in uniform and out, that serve the community. So for me, I consider it an honor to do that. And I couldn't think of not doing that given the platform that I have.
Emily, Tom Bradley, on Saturday, your Huskies take on Oregon, both now in the Big Ten. Can you tell me how much animosity are between those two schools now?
I mean, there's so much. And I'll say this, it's sort of interesting. And feel that you guys can appreciate this as longtime fans too. Depending on your age, it sort of underscores who you think your actual rival is. So certain age groups, Oregon is the ultimate rival of UW. And to other age groups, actually like my years, it would be Wazoo. And it's in part because those represent the chapters when each school had a more commensurate playing field, right? So we've had our ups and downs, certainly UW. Oregon has risen to such a powerhouse, but so is UW at this moment. So I'm really proud of us. So I think this game will mean more because it'll be a better matchup. But definitely, you know, if you talk to any Seattleite, you say, who's your biggest rival? Or any Husky, you say, who's your biggest rival? And if they answer with either Oregon or Wazoo, that'll sort of tell you what age that they came up from.
I really appreciate Emily's time. We were able to squeeze in some more questions with her. Make sure to go to NittanyGameWeek.com for the rest of the interview, along with other web-exclusive content. Still to come, we finish up with our scrap metal winner. Tom's going to go to the other side of the ball for this week's recipient. See who the offensive winner is next.
Scrap Metal is sponsored by the We Are In, voted #1 game day restaurant in Center County. Follow us on Facebook and visit thewearein.com or call for dinner or room reservations.
Time to hand out the scrap metal, Tom. It's a position group of strength. This guy is certainly showing his unsung hero type of value.
We're going to go with the quarterback's best friend, tight end, Tyler Warren, okay? He's second in the team in receptions, but he's #1 in touchdown catches.
That is making efficiency. 4 touchdown catches out of 14 receptions. Well done, Tyler Warren. The guy is Mr. Versatile. In addition to a television show, we're bringing Nittany Lions together with our depth chart at NittanyGameWeek.com, connecting businesses that support our show with our viewers. Our goal is to build a team that keeps the hometowns strong. And if you have not noticed yet, we've got a lot to share with you when it comes to college football and other stuff. It doesn't all fit into this neat, tidy 30-minute window. Make sure to check out NittanyGameWeek.com for web-exclusive content. It is homecoming, so we finish with a different kind of pride pick.
Throwback pride picks, and some of these are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Go to the website because there are some just beauties on there.
We've populated the site with some, including Little Jay Paterno. Go looking for him because it's a good one. It's worth searching for. For Jay and Tom, I'm Todd. Thanks so much for watching Nittany Game Week. We'll see you next time.